Most people don't understand the true meaning of friendship. Well, most people haven't seen The Long Walk. But we should talk about it. Sit down, let's have a drink. I haven't gone anywhere in 2 days because I can still feel this movie in my legs. This honestly may be the best movie I've seen of 2025. Now, I don't review every single new movie that I see, but out of all the ones I have seen this year, this definitely takes number one, by a mile. The Long Walk follows a group of young men chosen from each U.S. state. Each of these young men have volunteered to enter a competition amongst themselves. A competition where they must walk at a 3 miles per hour pace. Anyone who falls behind that 3 miles per hour pace for too long, well, kablooey. The young men must keep walking until there is one person left. The last person walking will receive a wish granted of their wildest dreams. Overall, the movie was absolutely fantastic. Off the top of my head, I can't remember who produced this movie, but I'm really just glad it wasn't Disney. But I've got pros and I've got cons. Let's start off with the pros, shall we? This movie is over-the-top dramatic in the absolute best way. It starts off with a lot of ambiguity, where we see a mother dropping off her son to what seems to be like a military camp, only to see that he's basically going on a very long hike for his life. Judy Greer plays our mom here, and when she drops off her son, played by Cooper Hoffman, well, it was all tears from there. Not even 5 minutes into this movie, and I started leaking like I took a selfie with a chopped onion. Yes, even demons can be softies. From there, every single unaliving that we witnessed was so heartful, so dramatic, and completely impactful. But, ladies and gentlemen, good drama can only come from good acting. And for that, I have to give a round of applause for every single actor in this movie. Cooper Hoffman, David Johnson, Judy Greer, Ben Wong, Mark Hamill, Garrett Rarin, and so many others absolutely phenomenal. Besides Mark Hamill and Judy Greer, I've honestly never heard of any of these actors. So, Hollywood, fuck you, because you've clearly been holding out on us. I would like the entire 2026 agenda for Pedro Pascal to be replaced with David Johnson. Also, I believe Mark Hamill should be an Avenger. The pacing in this movie was absolutely spot on. I'm very glad I get to put this down as a pro in an era where you have to ask a movie what its pronouns are before you watch it, because the director doesn't even know what genre he's on. This movie, from beginning to the very end, wastes no moments. I think this is the first time I actually read the credits. Every scene was so purposeful. It felt like a long-ass walk. Like you were truly there for every single step of the way. Even time skips were small, not measured by days, but yet by seconds. We truly got to see every single day and night of misery that these characters were walking. Director Francis Lawrence really just took a fat butter knife and spread every death out perfectly, like the Grim Reaper of cream cheese. This movie had a certain pull that it just doesn't let you loose from. As the movie goes on, you start to really wonder how much more these characters can endure. And then for the next 20 minutes, you forget about that as you get lost in pure-hearted conversation. And then the moment it gets silent again, you remember, oh, they're still walking. By the time I finished watching this movie, I was absolutely exhausted. And I mean that as a good thing. Now, before I finish glazing this movie harder than a syrup-infused creme brulee fudgesicle, I would like to announce the big pro of the movie, David Johnson. I mean, Satan's goat, where the hell did this guy come from? David Johnson plays character Peter McGrives. Somehow, without showing or telling any of this character's history, the audience quickly sees that Peter is an upstanding and outstanding human being. You truly cannot help but to love every single thing he says. So pure, so honest, so philosophical, and just so kind. As a demon, it honestly made me sick to my stomach. Truthfully, it was giving John F. Kennedy vibes. If I was to win the long walk, well, I think I would wish for a friend like Peter. I think we all deserve a friend like that. But every single time David spoke, and every single dialogue piece he was involved in, completely grasped my attention. Now, I promised that was the end of the glazing, so let's go on to the cons. I actually only have one con for this entire movie, so take it with a grain of salt. The Major was a character played by Mark Hamill, who really put on a show for this character. A cold-hearted army official tasked with leading our men to walk to their deaths. Now, the con isn't on Mark Hamill as much as it is on the way the Major was written. This character ends up becoming very important later on in the movie, and it feels like they just didn't give Mark Hamill enough to explore that. The production company intros at the beginning of this movie had more screen time than Mark Hamill. In addition to all of that, some of the dialogue choices that they gave the Major was a little over the top, a little cheesy, but none of that killed the movie for me. I think 2025 really needed a movie like The Long Run. Now, I wouldn't put it in my top 10 movies of all time, but I would put it in top number 1 of this year. Well-paced, great acting, with maybe 1 or 2 nonsense ideas that felt tacked on. But overall, I'd give this movie an 8 out of 10. Well, if you'd like to watch a similar movie where a group of strangers are put together in a life or death situation where only one of them can escape, well, I'd recommend the movie Circle, now streaming on Netflix. But I want to know what you think about The Long Walk. Talk to me in the comments.